This is my very first look at my brand new world. A new world with new adventures and new rules. I'll tell you more about those rules here in a minute. The very first rule that I have set for myself is that I must pay attention to spawn. Spawn must have love and a build before I move on anywhere else in the world. So that's what's first. The coastline seems to be really close to spawn, so this is perfect. As lore for the island, we're just going to say that we sailed here on a boat, and this is where our boat landed. Now, right over here in the bay is my favorite spot. There's this big old chunk of stone and dirt, and right now it's kind of an eyesore, but I love the idea of making this into our very own Founder's Rock. This is the rock where we landed and where, well, we entered the world. If we were coming to this world for the very first time, obviously we would set up campsites. So that is my plan behind me here, to put a whole founding spawn campsite together. But first, we need a few supplies. As I search off into the world to gather supplies, this brings me to rule number 2, and that is that I can't explore any more than 1,000 blocks in any direction from spawn. The reason for this rule is that we are going to have another Minecraft update that comes out soon, and when it does, we are going to have a lot of structures and different things that I may want to explore that aren't going to generate on my map if I've gone out too far. So my plan is to give myself the boundary, 1,000 by 1,000, see what all I can achieve within that time period, and then once the update comes, we will have new world to explore. Exploring out even further is going to help me look forward to the new update even more than I already do, and it's also going to make me focus on gathering resources and building within a limited space, because sometimes I spend all of my early game time going off to find every type of wood. This time around, we're going to be limited to whatever wood and supplies are available within 1,000 by 1,000 spaces, which should be most things. This could be a look. I don't know. What do you think? Is this the new style? I found a cute little igloo, and while I liked it, there wasn't really anything good or interesting or valuable in it, so I moved on pretty quickly. I filled my pockets up with all the other resources I could find, which meant pumpkins or anything hanging out, as well as all the animals that I ran into, so that I would have some good food sources. I made my way over to a ruined portal to check out what was in the chest, and was actually really pleased. There was a silk touch hoe, lots of iron, and a pair of golden boots with Frostwalker 2 on it. I don't think I've ever worn Frostwalker boots before. I'm a huge fan. They wouldn't be great for every circumstance, but they were really fun for early game exploring. I wasn't very far from spawn when I found the coolest first big major find of this world, and that is actually a zombie spawner that's just sitting up here on the surface, just totally above. Okay, how often can you really find something like this in the game? I thought it was so cool. It was also right next to a big cave system with all the iron and resources I was gonna need for this first stage of the game, so really big find, super exciting. I stayed near this spawner gathering resources for several days in the Minecraft game. The loot chests at the spawner even gave me seeds and other cool things, and in the end, I decided to name this entire area the Giving Cave. I even made the name official. Just over the hill from spawn is a beautiful mountain range with a gorgeous valley, a big long valley with a village at the end, and that is super convenient because I need to get villager trading up and going pretty soon. It was time to settle in and actually set up camp, which meant getting some basic things in place. So I definitely needed to get a garden going so that I would have wheat and crops. I was not going to have enough food from exploring to last forever. I had a lot of terraforming to do so that I'd have enough room to put the campsite down. I didn't need a lot done, but I needed to pick up some dirt in some places and put it down in other places so that there would be room for some tents. And then I also wanted to put some spruce trees down, one of these big ones, right in the middle of camp, not just because I needed the wood, but also for the pod soil. I started working on a dock that could kind of go out from this little beach area, which is all just grass, by the way. I took away most of the sand that was on the surface, so it goes straight from water to grass, and I wanted the dock to go out where we could put the boat in the future. I wanted to mix some gravel and coarse dirt in around the podsoil that I created in the middle of camp, so I made a few holes kind of at random just to get some good texture on the ground before building up the campsite. The last step to setting up camp was to lead a bunch of sheep over to a pen because I was going to need a bunch of wool to make these tents and the sails for the ship. This would be the reason I don't play hardcore. With the campsite complete, I started on the path out of town, and this brings me to one of my next rules, and that is that all the builds in my world have to be connected by a road or some other type of transportation. This is something that I really like to have because I want the world to be cohesive. I want to be able to literally move from one town or one village or one farm or build to the other on a horse or on my feet if I want to. I do plan on getting elytra, and I'll probably fly straight over those roads eventually, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a rule. Everything must be connected. Not only that, but it, needs to start connected. I can't just build a city and then put a road somewhere in the future and call it connected. Gotta connect it when you build it. Hey, what do you guys think you're doing over there? That's the Founder's Rock. It's important. Man, just barely get my first campsite built and we've already got invaders? This might be a more tricky adventure than I thought. I've created a semi-complete path that goes out of the little campsite village through a tunnel that's not complete and down up through the mountains into the valley where I want to put my starter house. It's gorgeous over here. There's a little lake at the bottom, which I love, and it has the mountains flashing in the background. And then right over here on the other side of the lake is a cave. This cave is just going to be perfect for a mining cave. I'll put an entrance and make it all, nice on the outside, and we can kind of get in and get all those resources we need. The first thing I want to build in this new area where I'm going to put my starting house is a gigantic wheat field. And I know that might seem odd, but I want it both as I'm going to get animals ready to go, as I need to get villagers so I can get a bunch of them built up for trading, and then also so I have food if I need it, and because I think farms are really pretty. Just on the other side, as you look at the beautiful mountain, there's this huge stream of lava. So I went to go ahead and block it off. As soon as I got near the mountain of lava, water started pouring down from the top. I don't know if it broke a block of ice up there or melted, or if it was just coming down as I was logging in. I don't know. One way or another, it made for a terrible mess, because then the water went over the lava, and then the lava went over the water, and I don't know how the game managed to do all this, but now, instead of a beautiful mountain, I have an entire mountain face of cobblestone, which is, not so beautiful. So that'll be a fun project to take care of in the future, although I'm gonna need to wait until I have a better pickaxe. Something with lots of efficiency. It's actually quite obnoxious. If any of you think you know how this might have happened, because the game did this all by itself, I would love to know how it created a mountain of cobblestone. I'm doing my best to ignore the mountain with the big old cobblestone face coming down it, and instead I'm paying attention to what's around me. As I was going about, I definitely need to pull some of these out. You know what? This is pretty cool. I may not have a jungle in my border that I gave myself, and I see 2 brown sheep. This is so awesome. That means I'll have brown wool for several different gradients, which is awesome. All right, let's get that field put together. My field is done. This took so long, not just to get the field all put together, but to get enough wheat grown so that I could harvest it and use the seeds to grow the rest of the wheat. It's actually a bigger field than it looks, and it's not too hard to harvest, which is good. But the next big project is going to be right next to the field. I need to clear a bunch of land where I want to put my house. I'm ready to build my starter house, my real starter house down here in this valley. But to do that, I have a ton of supplies that I need to get first. So I'm going to head into the cave behind me. I have everything I think I need. I'm going to try to be safe. I don't know how this is going to go. One way or another, I need those resources. Right away, the zombies have come to meet me. Maybe they are welcoming me to the neighborhood. Well, that's an intense start for the very beginning. All right, I'm going to go through and light up as much of this area as I can and see if we can find anything interesting. I've got the whole right side lit up. It looks like the left side is sending another crew to meet me. I need to get better at attacking. Look at you! You look like you used to be a farmer. That's kind of sad. I'm going to start a farm in this valley, but I don't think you're going to be able to help me with it. Hey, it's a potato! That's actually really good. I needed potatoes for my farm, so that's awesome. And it's still raining outside. That's okay. We're going deeper into the cave. And I think I'm going to start a little bit of a stairwell right here and head down. I'm nowhere near bedrock yet, but I decided to go ahead and put together the design I'm going to use for the stairs as I get ready to go down even further, and just made the top a little bit pretty. I just want to design a little bit as I go. But the goal, of course, is to get this stairway all the way down to bedrock and maybe find some diamonds. That would be nice. I've broken into a creepy cave. It doesn't look like it's too far down, but it's also not super close, and it looks really dangerous. Exactly like the kind of place where I die a bunch. Let's see if we can get a better view. Oh my goodness. How many bad guys do you think are down there? I've decided to try an MLG save here with the water bucket. I warn you, I'm really bad at these, but let's give it a... Okay, well, I didn't die, so we will take that as a win. And I've got a ton of... Okay, I need to light this up. It's not the water... No, torch. Torch! No, I don't have a shield. I should have made a shield. Okay. Well, I guess we'll try again. So I did try again. I went all the way down, ready, and tried to jump into the water that was already down there. I knew I needed to get my stuff. I had a lot of stuff in my pocket. But who's wearing my armor? The skeleton, of course, had put my armor on. So I got as much of it as I could before. And the loop begins. On the next try through, I remembered to bring a water bucket so I could put water at the top and at least get down without taking any fall damage. So that was a good start. And then I got to the bottom and found a slime. That's kind of cool. I knew that I had a slime chunk then down here somewhere, which would be cool to find in the future. But my main goal was to get all of my stuff picked up. I didn't want to lose anything that was in my pocket already. Most of it was already handled and I was being very cautious, so I felt like things were going really well. I just needed to get my armor on and finish lighting the basics up. I forget that slimes actually can do a lot of damage when they hit you. They're just not one of those enemies that you think about as being too big of a problem until they kill you. One of the big things that I need to learn how to do in Minecraft is how to resuit up and go back in to find my stuff when I actually have gear. I'm always running after my things. As soon as I die, I wake up from the bed and I go running to get all my stuff. As you can see, that's not really the best way to go about it. I died a few more times. Anyhow, after getting myself out of the death loop, I managed to continue my journey down to the bottom of the world. I was able to mine up a ton of stuff. Iron, even diamonds that I was able to mine up, other resources too, the stone and the deep slate that I needed. I lit up a ton of the caves below my starter house, and there was a ton of them down there. I also came by a suspicious amount of skulk, which makes me nervous for my continued exploration underground. And then I found a really good source of lava, which will be nice, because I want to go to the nether eventually. Once getting back, I was able to start smelting things up, and was actually in pretty good shape, regardless of the multiple deaths that might have happened along the way. My life has become all about wheat. The wheat became trades to the villagers, which became emeralds. The emeralds became shiny new armor, which is awesome. It also became resources that I need to build the house. And next thing you know, I'm ready to build. I've got the foundation all worked out for my starter home. I really want it to be tall and thin and beautiful and right next to the farm. Ignore the cement box and the animals in the distance. I moved a few villagers over. I got an acacia sapling from a wandering trader, which was great, so I decided to use it in the build, and I got the emeralds from the villagers that I'm keeping captive. Don't worry about them. We'll talk about them in the next episode, which means I have all the resources I need. Let's build this house. really happy with how my starter house came out, and I think it's going to be cozy and wonderful for at least a little while in the game, which leads me to my fourth and final rule. This can't be a short-term world. I restart over and over. It's a really bad habit of mine, and I love starting new worlds. It's so fun when you're early on in the game. That also means you never get around to the really big builds and the really complicated farms, and there are some in-game things that I just haven't done. That's why I've created this rule. I am going to keep going. It's going to be a long-term world, which means years, not weeks or months. I want to commit to a space, and if I'm in the mood to do something different, I'm just gonna move to a different part of the world. I'm curious to find out if you guys have ever set rules for yourself in the game. Maybe that's just me self-imposing torture, but I think it's going to help me enjoy the game a lot more. Thank you everyone for being here, and please do consider subscribing if you'd like to continue to see more of what I do on this adventure for the long-term world as we move forward. With that, I wish you all the best. Minecraft Day.